Hey, welcome back, everybody. Hopefully, you've been following along. Today, this is video number 9 in our series of Python for Beginners. So, today we're going to explore modules and packages in Python. By the end of this video, you'll understand how to organize your code better and use Python's powerful modular system to make your programs more efficient and manageable. So, let's get started. All right, guys, let's get started with modules in Python. So what is a module? A module is a file containing Python definitions and statements. Modules allow you to break down large programs into smaller, manageable, and reusable parts. So let's see how we can create and use a module. The name itself says it all, right? Module. So it's modular. Python is modular in nature, which makes it very powerful, and it helps to organize and make things efficient, in my opinion. All right, so what is a module though? Like at the end of the day, we just read the definition. Essentially, what you need to do is create a new Python file. So let's go ahead and do that. I'm going to click up here at the root. I'm going to say new Python file. And let's just call this uh, let's call this my module.py. I don't think we need .py because it's already a Python file. All right, so now you see we have a second file up here and a second file over here in our directory structure. So we'll just define something in the module file. So I'm just going to copy in some code I already had ready. And now we have my module. This is a comment, right? So my module.py. And then we just have a simple function that we built. So define greet, and then we're going to require a parameter to be passed to it, which is name. And then that will return hello name, right? And this is the F for the formatted string. And we'll see what we're going to do with that here in a second. So if we go back to our main py, we don't need this defined in main py. We can simply import it. So now I'm going to do import my module. So now main.py knows about this file and the contents of it, right? Or this module, if you will. All right, so now that we've imported that, we can go ahead and use it. So just like we would do if we were interacting with this function from this file directly, we can now do that in main. So we're going to do a print my module dot greet, which is the function within that. So remember, we've imported the entire module, so we need to call out a function with the module name, right? So we can say print. We really want to print the greet function, but we need to tell it, hey, that greet function is coming from my module. And we already know about my module because we imported it. So print my module.greet, and then we need to pass it that parameter. So I'm going to say Damien. And that should print out, let's see, that should print out, hello, Damien. Let's see if that works. Perfect. So that worked just fine. So in this example, we imported the my module.py module, and then we called the greet function passing Damien as the argument. All right, that was all cool, fine, and dandy. However, a lot of times these modules, these Python files will contain a lot of functions and statements in here. So we don't always want to import everything. And that's basically what we did. We imported the entire module here. We can import specific functions from any modules that we choose. And that way it makes it available directly without the module prefix. Now, what do I mean by that? This is a module prefix, so module dot function. What if I just want to call greet? Well, that's easy. All I have to do is modify the way that I'm importing. So we're going to say from, sorry, we have to reword that statement there. So from my module, which is this guy, now we're just going to tell it whatever we want to import. Import greet, which is a function. Now, in this case, there's only one function, but again, some of these that other people have written have, I mean, just thousands of lines of code, right? You can ingest the whole thing, but it's not best practice. And then also, you're going to have to do this, right? You're going to have that prefix for the module. So when we get into building actual applications, you'll see us do this a lot. We'll be like from Pygame import this, and then you can even say import this as a different name, right? And then we can call that name or whatever we want it. Like we can import a function as a different name, and then we can call that function by whatever name we define it as. Makes more sense when you're in there doing it, but hopefully this is simple enough for you guys to understand. So instead of importing the entire module, I'm saying, hey, look at this module, and then from that module, I want you to import just this one function. And if we hover over it, this again, this is what's nice about PyCharm or any good IDE. It just breaks it down for you. You can hover over it and it'll show you, hey, this is in my module, def greet name, boom. All right, so now instead of saying print my module.greet, we should just be able to reference that function directly. So print greet and pass it the attribute of Damien. Boom, perfect. So that's the way I like to do it a lot of times, guys. It just depends on your need, but again, usually you're not going to import everything when you're calling these external, or unless you wrote the whole module yourself and it's part of your program, then yeah, you probably want to import everything. But if you're using like other people's modules or libraries that they've written, you're probably just going to import specific things. So hopefully that makes sense. Okay, guys, so taking it a step further, we can also create what are called packages. So what is a package? It's kind of just what the name sounds like. It's a way to package up different modules. So essentially what we're going to do is we're going to create a new directory, and we'll just call this my package. Yeah, no comment. And then we will put some modules inside of here. Okay, so let's go ahead and do module 1 and module 2. So we'll put a new Python file in there, module 1, because we are super creative today, guys. Module 1 and module 2. It's like B1 and B2. You ever watch that Bananas in Pajamas way back in the day? Probably not. I did. All right, so we have our first package built, and we have two modules in there. I'm going to close the mymodule.py for demo purposes. I'm going to clean this up, and let's say packages in Python. All right, so you've built your first package here, but you have no contents to your modules. So let's just create these basic modules. I have some code already prepared for this. So I'm just going to do a addition statement in module 1, and then I'll do a subtraction statement in module 2. And again, obviously, this is for demo purposes. These could potentially have a lot more code in them. But let's just talk about and walk through how we can use these packages in our main file or in our Python code. So before we can actually use these modules from the package within Python, we need to create one more file, or one more module, I should say, within this package. So we need to create an init.py. So this is like an initialization file. So we're going to do init. Oops. That should have been a Python file. Sorry about that. Let's get rid of that and try again. There we go. And in here, we just need to import the two modules, or import the functions from the two modules. So what this does, the init.py, that file makes Python treat directories as packages. So it can be empty or execute initialization code for the package. In our example, it helps us import functions from the modules within the packages. All right, now that we know how to create modules and import modules and leverage modules, let's talk about packages. So packages are essentially what they sound like. They're a way of packaging up multiple modules for the use within our Python program. And this isn't going to be always like packages that we create. This could be packages that we download off GitHub. It could be, a number of things. So I won't type it all out. We'll just kind of talk through what I've already put together. One very important thing to note is that your packages need to live at the same directory level as your Python file that you're calling them from. So here's the main root level, right? We have the control structures project, if you will. And then here's our main Py script right underneath that. So it lives right there. And if we look at that from File Explorer, you'll see here's our main.py where we're going to be calling that package from. And then here's our package. And then within that package, we have 3 Python files. So let's take a look at those. So we basically have 2 modules that live in the package. And the first one, these are just simple examples. This could have a lot more code in here, obviously. The first one is just module 1, and that has a addition or an add function. The next one is module 2, and then we built a simple subtract function in there. And then what you need to do also is create this init.py, so underscore underscore init underscore underscore .py. This is needed, guys, so that Python treats packages, I'm sorry, Python treats directories as packages. So without this, it's really not going to work. So just know that you have to add this, and then from each module, you're going to import the functions that you want to use. So feel free to take a screenshot of that or look at it, copy it down, whatever you need to do. All right, so that allows us to go back to our main Py file, which is where we're executing our code from, and then we can import the package or import from the package, I should say. So similar to the module, we're going to say from my package, which is this guy here, right? Import, add, and subtract. Note that we didn't have to prefix the module name. We were able to just call in the functions. That's part of this here, right? So when we initialize that, it's going to say module 1 import add, module 2 import subtract. So now we can reference those directly. Okay, so now from there we can say print and then call the function add. We're just going to add 5 and 3 and then print subtract 5 minus 3. So let's go ahead and clear this and we'll run it. And as you can see, they both worked. 5 minus 3 is 2, 5 plus 3 is 8. Unless you're Terrence Howard, then it's some weird number with lines and curves and stuff. Just kidding. But yeah, guys, this was a hopefully not too long of a video on how to create, interact with, manage both modules and packages in Python. I don't think this is too complex and getting too far down the rabbit hole, but let me know, guys. Again, this was intended to be a Python for beginners course, and feel free to ask me any questions. I'd be glad to revisit a video, chat with you in the comments, whatever you need to help you out. This is the last instructional type of video in this first series, Python for beginners. Depending on how the audience or the community reacts to it, we may do more. But the very last video in this will be just a simple application where we put some of the stuff that we've learned over the past 9 videos into action by creating just a basic application, right? So we'll use some of the tools that we've added to our tool belt to assemble a basic Python application. Let me know what you guys think, though. Have you been following along? How is the flow of this? Are you able to start stacking up different things that you've learned and put them together? Hopefully, it all makes sense so far. Yeah, but let me know, guys. Leave me a comment, like the video. If you haven't done so, I really appreciate it if you subscribe. Again, shooting for 10K this year. Hopefully, we're going to get there. Definitely need your help, though, right? So share this video with your friends as well. Maybe they want to learn some Python. In my opinion, it's always great to learn or watch multiple people because that's the best way I learn, hands-on, and then getting different perspectives from people. Because sometimes one person explains it and it doesn't resonate with me, and then another person explains it. I'm like, well, that makes total sense, right? So yeah, feel free to share this out, guys. All right, stay tuned for that final video in the series where we're going to put together an application. I think it should be a fun one. Till the next video, take care, guys.